just start, Marianne, or should we wait for them to come in?
I'll just wait and.
We'll just start. If they miss some, they miss some.
What was that song?
maybe because I think your version is older, you can just press this one
I just
and
annotate
annotate.
right
Yes.
there.
Then,
And then I can-
kind of like maybe your iPad is a little like
My
older.
iPad might be
Yes,
old.
older.
My
But
iPad
that's
might be
why.
old.
That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, 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 yeah.
They cannot capture. So
Right.
I'm a pretty good. Yes, it's yeah. So I can use my face gesture and.
Right.
Like I said, I'm learning. But I think I'll spend a few minutes to play with it and put a couple things in, and then I go find it. For what I'm doing here, yeah.
I'm a really professional. Really? I used to wanted to spend this my
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good evening. Welcome. We gather this evening on Shabbat as we welcome Shabbat. It also happens to be Rosh Chodesh Adar, which means the beginning of the month of Adar. Rosh Chodesh is the first of the month, and the melody that we were singing as a nigun, as a wordless melody, is actually about entering into the month of Adar with joy. We will talk a little bit more about this in just a few moments. We gather certainly with the joy of the new month, certainly with the joy of welcoming Shabbat, certainly with the joy in anticipating Dylan Silver being called to the Torah tomorrow morning as a bat mitzvah. We have birthday blessings, significant milestone birthdays. We have a milestone anniversary blessing, lots of joy, lots to celebrate. And we also know that there are people among us who are struggling in this moment, struggling with a recent loss, struggling with the memory of a loss that occurred at this season in years past, struggling with illness, struggling with loved ones who are looking for healing in this moment. And so we gather not only in joy, but we gather in strength to support one another. And as we do so, let's take a moment to turn to the people next to us, in front of us, behind us, across the aisle from us. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. If you don't know who they are, please introduce yourselves to them. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, it's the only one that's not lit unless it's this camera.
Get like a good
Good top-down shot. And so as we welcome Shabbat together, we do so with the kindling of the Sabbath lights and the Kiddush, the blessing over the Sabbath wine. You can find these blessings on page 2 and page 5 of your prayer books. If you have a thicker version of our prayer book at home, it's on page 120 and page 123. I'd like to invite Dylan and her family to come forward to lead us in these blessings.
Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
Well, it will be someday if you leave it in a bottle.
We continue now on page 20 in the thinner volumes, page 138, with Lecha Dodi, our Sabbath hymn. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. 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 Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litzilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu le'elcha, ki hi mekor ha'beracha, ve'rosh mikeret le'sucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshava tzilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. Bori v'shalom atzeret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'letzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat v'kavela. As we enter this new month of Adar, the month during which we celebrate Purim, we have a poem for Adar, and I invite you to join me responsively. I'll begin. Chava and Lilith, two sides of the same coin. Chava, mother of all living things. Lilith, mother of passion and creativity that makes life worth living.
One without the other is pointless. Light and dark, neither inherently good nor bad, each needed to know the other.
Art doesn't exist without life, but life must come first. Vashti, wild and inspiring, but Esther is needed to give life.
Without Lilith, no Chava, no Esther without Vashti. Between light and dark, we understand the sacred.
We continue now as we turn to our call to worship the Baruch Hu, beginning on page 28 or 146, We invite you to rise as you are able. Please be seated. The paragraph that immediately follows Baruch Hu is a paragraph that focuses on God the Creator. In the morning prayer, we celebrate God's creativity with images of light. In the evening, we celebrate God's creativity with images of the nighttime. And as I was thinking about this, I was drawn to a book that Kathy and I used to read to our children when they were little and growing up, and now we have the opportunity with our granddaughters as well to read it. And I thought that a way of starting this little Devar Torah would be to share it with all of you. Most of you are familiar. If you'd like to read along with me, please feel free to do so. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs, and 2 little kittens, and a pair of mittens, and a little toy house, and a young mouse, and a comb and a brush, and a bowl full of mush, and a quiet old lady who was whispering, hush. Good night, room. Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. Good night, light and the red balloon. Good night, bears. Good night, chairs. Good night, kittens. And good night, mittens. Good night, clocks, and good night, socks. Good night, little house, and good night, mouse. Good night, comb, and good night, brush. Good night, nobody. Good night, mush. And good night to the old lady whispering, hush. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. Good night, moon. The new moon, which we celebrate tonight, is actually the absence of moon. We'll go out into the evening and look up in the sky, and the moon will be absent. What is really unique about this new month of Adar this year is that there will be a parade of planets. Many of you have read about this. We'll be able to see, I believe, 5 planets all lined up in a parade. This won't happen again for another 40 years. Now, our tradition tells us that we are to celebrate the new moon, Rosh Chodesh. And it's a very interesting thing, this, that we celebrate the darkness. But it's not really the darkness that we're celebrating. We're celebrating with the knowledge that after the darkness, there is light. It will begin first as a sliver, and then it will grow each night, night after night, until the middle of the month, where the sky will be filled with the full moon. And then it will ebb into another month. We celebrate because we have faith that light will return. In the Torah portion for this week, Truma, we read about our ancestors first being commanded to build the Mishkan, this portable sanctuary that would sustain them spiritually through their journey to the Promised Land, when they will be able to build a permanent structure, a permanent place of worship. And I have to imagine that our ancestors were carrying quite a bit of darkness with them, the trauma of 430 years of enslavement at the hands of the Egyptians. And yet, they were commanded, they were asked to build a Mishkan, a sacred space. And I corrected myself. I said commanded, but they were not commanded. They were invited. Everyone whose heart so moved them. It was invitation. It wasn't a command. It was built from the heart, not from a sense of obligation or out of taxes. It was something that each Israelite brought with them. And a remarkable thing happened, as you know, if you've read ahead in the story, that all of the Israelites, when presented with this invitation, whoever heart so moved them, to bring forward materials, to give of their time, their talent, their resources to this communal project. And it was in the giving that light began to dawn for our ancestors. In this communal effort where everybody joined together at invitation, not at command, that they were able to create light in their midst. They were able to create the opportunity to experience the presence of God in their midst. We can relate to our ancestors' trauma. We ourselves are living in a very dark time. Anti-Semitism is rampant. People are afraid to send their children to school, afraid to put on any outward displays of Jewish identity, afraid of the consequences, afraid of what might happen. But Judaism teaches us never to be paralyzed by such darkness. We have tools, we have these midot, we have soul traits that can help us respond to the darkness, even the darkness of anti-Semitism, and so much of what we are experiencing, the anxiety, the fear that seems to permeate all spaces. We have nidivut, generosity, the sense of giving. When we are able to give, we can reclaim control in difficult times by giving to one another, by extending ourselves to our community. It's a way of helping us to dispel the darkness and to celebrate in light. We also have ometz lev, which translates as courage. And courage not being the absence of fear, but courage being the ability to make that choice to continue to move forward, to continue to put one foot in front of the other, through the darkness into the light. And we have bitachon, trust. Trust not passive, that we can just sit back and wait because things will change, but trust is the active belief, the faith that we put into action to help us continue to be able to move forward, to know that light will dawn once again. There's a beautiful midrash that talks about the anatomy of the eye, right? The eye is made up of white parts, light parts, and also dark parts. And it's through the dark parts that we actually are able to see. Through the darkness, we can see the light. All of us are familiar with Psalm 23, right? the shepherd's psalm. Right? And there is the line, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." Right? That even in the valley of the shadow of death, we have no fear because we know that God continues to be with us. And when you think about it, there was an intention, the shadow of the valley of death. You can't have a shadow without light. You cannot have a shadow without light. So my friends, I invite you to exercise your nidivut, your generosity of time and talent and resources to bring light into our world, that you have ometz lev, that you have courage, or you draw courage from one another, we draw courage from one another, and that we continue to hold on to bitachon, that trust that even in the darkness there will be light once more. Ken yehi ratzon. May this be speedily and soon. Shabbat shalom. We are not alone. We have each other. We have the presence of God amongst us. The Shema reminds us of this. The Shema is our declaration of faith, of understanding that not only is God one, but we are one. I invite you to rise as you are able for Shema, beginning on page 34 or page 152.
Shema,
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha v'derech u'shochbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'vish'arecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adar. I invite you again to join responsively. Take on a mantle of light and observe the magic of the pear blossom, white link between winter and spring, the unlikely arrival of bees, of hummingbirds with red throats, and lone wolves in tune with the moon's phases.
We cast lots with ourselves, invent laughter and surprise, kibitz with holy clowns at the carnival, and emerge from childhood once again.
There is always hope in Adar. Esther chooses her words and enters the king's chamber. Moses throws his staff before Pharaoh. You are encouraged to betroth yourself to a tree of your choosing and invite it to your dance. And dance our ancestors did at the shores of the sea. Moses taught them song, Miriam taught them song and dance as well. And so If you can imagine yourselves dancing at the shores of the sea, I invite you to do so. If you'd like to get up and dance here as well, you're always invited to do so. We
You
continue.
first.
We continue with Micha Mocha, page 40 in our Siddur, in the thinner volumes, in the thicker volumes, page 158. On pages 42 and 43, we have the prayer Hashkivenu. We'll be starting first on page 43 with the English and then going over to the Hebrew side on page 42, a prayer that acknowledges that darkness, nighttime, can be a scary time. And so we ask God to provide us with a bit of protection, a sukkah, a shelter of shalom, of wholeness, and of well-being. And so often that shelter comes from us in the way that we comfort one another in dark times and nighttime as we comfort our children who might be afraid of what lurks under the bed or what's hidden in the closet behind the clothes and the closed door, that we can provide a sense of shalom to one another in each and every moment. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love, Adonai Elohim among us. Peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo ve'al As we turn now to the Amidah, we invite Dylan, in anticipation of her becoming a bat mitzvah tomorrow morning, Dylan to come and lead us, beginning on page 46, continuing on page 48 and page 50. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Hastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Ge'ulah, Livnei v'Neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Michael Hakol atah Rav le'Oshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Michael hayim behesed, Michael Hakol barahamim rabim, Somech noflim, V'rofei holim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato, Lishanei afar, Mi hamohaba al gevurot, U'mido melach, Melech me'mitz u'mekayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
Please be seated. We invite you to take these next few moments for the prayers not necessarily found written in our prayer books, but the prayers that we can each find written in our hearts in this moment of silent reflection.
Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atah melech adon, Leho hashalom, ki atah melech
So we continue with celebration. Ernie Schubert, you are celebrating a significant milestone birthday. I'd like to invite you to come forward. Ernie is part of a celebration of 170 years of birthdays. So I'll leave you to do the math in just a moment. He's not 170. So I just wanted to make that absolutely clear. Not yet. It's something to aspire to, right? Well, Moses got to 120. So we'll shoot first for 120 and then see where that takes you. Ernie, it is such an honor, and it is so appropriate to offer you a birthday blessing on this bima. You have given so much of yourself to this congregation in ways that are very obvious and ways that are not so obvious. I mentioned this, and I hope I'm not triggering any PTSD, but especially when COVID first hit and we were in lockdown, and we had to figure out how are we going to observe the High Holy Days. And we figured it out, and through your amazing talent and vision, we created not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 movies, essentially, that we allowed us to celebrate separately but together the High Holy Days. But that's not where it began and where it stopped. Your contributions to the community, the work that you've done with Federation, the work that you've done here at the congregation continues and will continue as you will continue to be called upon to share your creativity with all of us, which you do with great generosity of spirit. And our hope and our prayer for you in this new year of celebrating your birthday, that it will be one of a blessing, of good health, but just a taste of the wonderful years that are yet to come. May we be privileged to celebrate them together. And to this, let us all say, Amen. Happy birthday. Stay right here. Joni Keeshan is also celebrating a milestone birthday. And without giving away too much, they're sharing the years together. So, yeah, you figure it out. Joni, it is so wonderful to be celebrating with you on this anniversary of your birth. You and your family have been such cornerstones of our congregation, not just 1 or 2 generations, but 3 generations, and coming from a very strong family background of synagogue involvement, of not just showing up, but truly being present. And we know that this is a great gift that you learned from your parents, that you have bestowed upon your family, your children and grandchildren, and have inspired all of us. And we hope that in this anniversary of your birth, this new year, that it will be one of joy and health and happiness, but just a taste of the wonderful years that are yet to come. May we be privileged to celebrate them together. And to this, let us all say Amen and Mazel Tov. Happy birthday. Stay right here. Michael and Sandra Kaufman are celebrating a significant milestone anniversary of when they first stood under the chuppah. And so we invite you to come join us on the bima with these 2 birthday celebrants. And what a wonderful opportunity it is to acknowledge this 55th year since you first stood under the chuppah as infants and have come to this moment after having gotten permission from your parents to get married together, because that's what you require when you get married so young, and that through the 55 years of your married life, you have celebrated so many blessings of life and happiness that have given you the strength to overcome and to meet successfully the challenges that every couple must face during their lifetime together. You have been a blessing to one another, and you have been a blessing to this congregation. Michael, in lending your voice to our choir, Sandra, in supporting Michael and lending his voice to our choir, and just the joy and the love that you share with each other and that you share so generously with all of us. Our hope and our prayer is that in this 56th year of your marriage, that it will be a year of great joy and health, blessing and happiness, but just a taste of the wonderful years that are yet to come. May we all be privileged to celebrate them together. And to this, let us say Amen and Mazel Tov. Now, birthday anniversaries, wedding anniversaries, there you go, are opportunities to express the gratitude that we feel in our hearts with the words of the Shechianu, that thanks God for giving us life and sustaining us and bringing us to this moment. We invite you to all join together with us. They're doing the math together. Just as we offer prayers of gratitude, we also offer a prayer of protection. Protection for those who are embroiled in conflict, in war, in violence and terror, and for their leadership that will hopefully soon guide them out of this terrible predicament. A prayer for Israel. We offer this prayer again responsively. I will begin. Eloheinu ve'Elohei, Imotenu va'avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessing for the state of Israel and for all of Israel's inhabitants.
Makor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them.
Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your path so that they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening.
Matir Asurim, freer of the captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes, without the spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts.
Baal HaRachamim, Master of Compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people while also holding the humanity and the dignity of the Palestinian people.
As we are made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us your shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war.
And together we say, Amen. Amen. We know that the world is in need of great healing. We also know that there are individuals, friends and family members, members of our community who need a personal healing, a healing of body, a healing of spirit, maybe even be we ourselves who are in need of this healing in this moment. For those participating in our digital sanctuary, we invite you to share the names of the people that you are thinking of in the comments section. And for those present in our physical sanctuary, we invite you to rise and share the names of the people that you are thinking of, especially in this moment, who are in need of healing. Phyllis. a community, we are also remembering Mike Byrne, Alan Terry Burke, Dee Bittman, Ron Cohen, Sorara Corva, Nella Davis, Arlene Drucker, Lila and Aaron Eckel, Randy Epstein, Susie Fine, Arnie Fishbane, Pazit Kaplan, Jim Clapman, Michelle Levy, Mark Pierce, Ronald Rubin, Brian Rubenstein, Bill Salerno, Richard Sweet, Patricia Weinfuss, Mark Weiss, George Wittenberg, and Franklin Wolf. You can find the Misha Berach prayer for healing on page 253. Please join together with us. We continue on page 282 with Aleinu. We invite you to rise as you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekru l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום
Please be seated. Page 292. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear, but if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction he learned the law of God, and in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence, and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as, in their higher moments, they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. For those who are participating in our digital sanctuary, we invite you to share the names of the loved ones that you are thinking of and remembering in this moment. And for those present in our physical space, if it is your custom to do so, I invite you to rise as I share the name of your loved one. We remember the recent passings of Jerry Churn, Joel Goldhar, David Grossman, Kevin Heaps, Alexander Shubin, and just this past week, Charlotte Fink, mother of Marla Nyberg, grandmother of Ryan and Alec Nyberg. And we also call into our hearts the countless civilians killed this week in the crossfire of war and terror and violence. We also remember those whose yahrzeits occurred this past week. Maurice Adams, Charles Adler, Jerome Arbitman, Robert Baldwin, Muriel Baum, Marvin Breskin, Sherna Bricker, Ruth Brodsky, Rachel Brody, Sylvia Cohen, Audrey Dan, Helen Delheim, Hannah Drell, Lillian Drucker, Ray Edelstein, Nicole Nikki Eisenberg, Rose Edelson, Carol Flumenhoft, Gary Friedman, Darlene Guilford, Donna Tina Gold, Robert Goldberg, Irma Goldberg, Ann Goldstein, Hyman Gordon, Clara Goroff, Maurice Gottlieb, Jacqueline Grauer, Robert Greenfield, Suzanne Greenfield, Lee Greenwald, Hila Harf, Sarah Itzkowitz, Herman Jaffe, Sidney Kaplan, Harriet Colden, Leonie Coet, Brenda Ross Laredo, Louis Leschner, Louis Levin, Eduardo Machado, Bernice Margolis, Ida Marks, Sadie Metzger, Morton Minsky, Lillian Minsky, Samuel New, Leva Ogolnik, Bernice Rand, Dina Rothschild, Ann Schiff, Ethel Schneider, Regina Schneider, Joseph Slotin, Beatrice Smith, Nancy Steele, Phyllis Stutman, Theodore Van Gelder, Betty Ann Waxman, Bernard Weinfuss, Bentley Weitzman, Sal Wexler, Judy Williamson, and Lynn Wolfson. Are there other names that we are remembering in this moment? Zichronam livracha, may the memory of the righteous always be for a blessing. As one family, we invite you to rise as you are able and turn to page 294 for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru source of peace, send peace to all who mourn, and bring comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Babette Sanders, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors here at Temple Jeremiah. Thank you, Rabbi Fred, Marianne, again, for such a beautiful, heartwarming service. Mazel Tov, Ernie, where there he is, and Joni, and to Michael and Sandra. It's wonderful to be able to celebrate with you, and we're so pleased that you chose to share your milestones, birthdays, and anniversary with us. And most of all to Dylan. So, Mazel Tov. Yay, Dylan. And her cheering fan club here. But Dylan, we hope that tomorrow and the events of this weekend are everything that you've thought about since you were much younger, as you take your place as a member of our Jewish community here at Jeremiah for many, many years to come. So Mazel Tov to all of you. There are so many things that are happening at the temple. I picked a few as I was reading my Thursday night email. How many temples can say they offer a chat and choose session with Danny Glassman, where they get to watch a film and discuss it, and move from there into Stitch and Schmooze with Cantiliana for those individuals who enjoy handiwork, needlepoint, knitting, crocheting, whatever, to get together and be able to stitch and schmooze. And then we have the headlines with the rabbi. Rabbi reads the headlines. So whatever it is that interests you and is a way to engage with other congregants and other friends of Jeremiah, please partake. And the next big event is Purim. So 2 weeks from tonight is during our Friday evening services, there'll be a Purim spiel, which is always a lot of fun. And then Sunday morning, we start off with the Shushan Shuffle. Try saying that 10 times fast. But it's a great run around the community. At any level of activity and engage is welcome to participate. It's a fun event. And then the rest of the morning, there are a variety of events, and finishing off with the Purim Carnival. So please, please, please read your Thursday evening email, or go to the website for details on all of the upcoming events. There's something here for everybody, and we hope that you will participate. If you are new to Jeremiah, please feel free to introduce yourself after. I'd love to talk to you about Jeremiah. Or please introduce yourself to anyone on the Bima who would be happy to share why we think Jeremiah is a great place. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi. So it's time to put words to melody. We started out with the Nigun, Misha Nichnas Adar, one who, when Adar begins, there is joy, roughly translated. Yeah. So the words are going to appear, I believe,
They will, indeed.
on the screens.
Yes.
So we
Say the magic
invite
word.
you to rise as you are able, to join in this song. If it's the first time, join in. If you know it very well, join in. And remain standing for our closing blessing.
Mishem, 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 Nichnas Adar. Mishem, 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 Nichnas Adar. Mishem, Nichnas Adar.
Bruchim ayinu b'voinu, bruchim nihiyeh b'tzeitenu. Blessed are we as we gather together to welcome Shabbat, to celebrate the beginning of the month of Adar. Blessed may we be from this time and always. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.